Hey, what's up, Dynasty owners? It is game day. The NFL is back. It'll be a day after by the time you see this video, but it's the game day for me right now. It's like 14 hours after the live stream you guys just watched. So I hope you're back watching this one. I'm your rebuild guy, Jay Pounds. This is Dynasty Owner. If you happen to be stumbling across this video and you're wondering what in the world Dynasty Owner is, please check out our website, dynastyowner.com. It is a fantastic fantasy football website. We are our own platform. We run off of salary caps. We make you feel like a real NFL GM. Our salary cap is ran directly. It's correlated with the NFL salary cap. Our player contracts are exactly what they get paid in real life. So you're literally managing the same exact thing the NFL GMs are on this platform. Those of you that have been playing with us, sorry about that. Gotta show some love to the new users. They're very important to the game, and I hope you guys are using your affiliate link. If you need to figure out how to use that, just check out the live streams on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Dynasty Owner YouTube channel. You guys will get a lot of great information there. We've been going over a lot of startup drafts, and it'll just kind of help you out, especially if you're getting into a new league here, and it'll kind of give you a view on how other people value these players, because I promise you it is a lot different than regular fantasy football. If you guys can, please like the video, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, turn that notification bell on, and please leave some comments. The comments help out tremendously. It is a very, very easy thing that people overlook on YouTube, but it will help Dynasty Owner out greatly. As you see, we got the Steelers jersey of the old Troy Polamalu. He's getting ready to get inducted to the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he'll be there. I seen he tested positive for COVID, or maybe it was a false positive. I don't know. I haven't looked back into it, but I hope he's there to get into the Hall of Fame. That's a special moment for these players. They worked a long time for this. I have a cousin that played D1 college basketball, and he did not have a childhood like normal kids do. It was all basketball all day, every day, all year. He didn't get much breaks from it. So to be a Hall of Fame professional athlete, I can imagine that just the amount of time and effort they put into this their entire lives. It's got to be a special moment for him, and I hope he's able to be there and get enshrined. Enough of me rambling on like I always do. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. This week we're doing another buy, sell, hold for the NFC North. We got 3 more after this one. Like I said before, this is my way excuse me, of showing you guys of giving you guys my broad sense of view on everything. I can't do an article on each individual player. We'll never get through them. You guys don't need to hear about the stud players as much as you do maybe some of the middle of the road players. So I don't want to do articles on the top players, so this is just kind of my way to quick hit everybody and give you a little bit of at least you can form what my opinion is based on what I've said or what you read. Trying to make sure I don't miss anything before we get into it. All these buy, sell, and holds will all be looked at through a rebuilding owner's eyes. I am the rebuilding guy here at Dynasty Owner, so everything I do will be looked at through a rebuilding lens. Please remember that. All right. Let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. Let me pop this up, share my screen. Why does it always go to that one? All right. Oh, man. Sneak peek. D.D. Westbrook. All right, guys. We got the buy for the Packers. The first guy we got here, Jordan Love, 3 years, $3 million. He was making a lot of people happy for a little while if you had him. If you drafted him last year and had him just sitting there kind of patiently waiting. You were hoping Rodgers didn't come back to the Packers, but he did. He spoiled your party. And now I think it's time to buy Jordan Love. He is definitely going to be the Packers starter next year. I don't see any way Rodgers comes back to the Packers next year after what was just said and done and that press conference. I just do not see it happening. I didn't think he'd be there this soon. I figured I was hoping, I wanted him to go to Denver. The thought of him, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, man, that and then that defense, it would have been a lot of fun to watch. And I was really kind of just, I guess, just trying to talk it into existence in a sense. But nonetheless, we got Jordan Love here. He's going to ride the pine this year. He rode the pine last year. It happens, especially when you're playing behind a legend like Aaron Rodgers. But that being said, go buy him cheap right now. I guarantee you can get him relatively cheap. I don't even know if owners would you definitely would need more than a second, but I don't know that you need a first right now to get him. And he will be the starter next year at a $3 million salary. Will he be good? I don't know. Can't tell you that. Haven't heard a lot of good things about him, so it's a risk, but it's a cheap risk. So it's definitely one I'm willing to take if I'm rebuilding, and one I think you should as well. Because if he explodes, like I've always been saying, dynasty owner, quarterbacks are dynasty owner gold, especially young ones on cheap contracts. After that, we got AJ Dillon, 3 years, 1.3 million. He was a massive buy back, 2-3 months ago, but when it looked like Aaron Jones wasn't coming back to Green Bay, it just didn't seem like they wanted to pay him. And then out of nowhere, he signs this uh, $12 million a year contract, and now AJ Dillon's locked into a backup role. That being said, the Packers have used a running back by committee the last few years, and I don't really see them going away from it. Aaron Jones is still going to be a high end running back, or a high end running back one, and AJ Dillon, he will be able to be a bench option for you. I don't think you can rely on him as a starter unless something were to happen to Jones. After that, we got Amari Rodgers, 4 years, 1.2 million. The rookie, the kid. As you will see later, I am not a big fan of Lazard or MVS. I feel like Amari Rodgers at some point this season will beat both of them out. Um, at least in targets. I don't know how the positions are going to play out here, but I feel like target wise, it's going to be Devontae Adams, probably Tunyon, and then Rodgers. Maybe not for the total of the year, but if you look at the back half of the season, I guarantee he leads those guys in targets. After that, we got Robert Tunyon. Well, let me touch on one more thing with Rodgers real quick. Devontae Adams is probably not going to be back in Green Bay either. It wouldn't surprise me to see him and Rodgers kind of team up somewhere else. They just have that good of chemistry. He didn't re-sign with Green Bay. There is a chance that he does, but how fitting would it be for them to? It just seems like it's definitely a real possibility that maybe they find a way to make it work and both of them go to Denver or wherever. I just see them going together. I don't know if it necessarily happens, but in my head it makes sense. After that, we got Amari Rodgers. We just talked about Amari Rodgers, but anyway, he could be the number one guy come 2022. After that, we got Robert Tunyon, 1 year, 3.3 million. Aaron Rodgers loved the kid last year. It seemed like he trusted him a lot in the red zone. I'm looking for more of that this year, and not only this year. It just seems like he might be butting into one of these young up and coming tight ends. I don't think he'll ever be a George Kittle Waller or Kelsey type, but I do think he has like Mark Andrews type upside once he gets really really accustomed to the NFL. Right now, a lot of it's Rodgers. A lot of the Packers' offense is Rodgers. He's that good. But I feel like Tunyon's learning from it, and I feel like he's going to grow from it, and it'll turn into a solid NFL career. After that, we got Kellen Mond for the Vikings. This is the buys for the Vikings. Kellen Mond, Captain Kirk, as we like to call him around here, is nearing the end of his time in Minnesota. At least in my opinion, I don't see them signing him to another contract. I think he's got 2 years left, and that's it. And Minnesota will move on. but we will see what happens. I don't believe Kellen Mond's the answer, but he's going to come cheap. You probably get him for a third round pick and just sit on him. You know, as rebuilding owners, you're going to do a lot of sitting on players. I'll give you guys a great example later on when we talk about Aaron Jones on what just sitting or getting rid of players at the right time will do for your rebuild. And you know, you may be able to sit on Kellen Mond and realize he's going to be an average quarterback, you know, and you trade him to somebody when he's got 2 years, 1.3 million left on his deal, and you get, you know, a first and a second out of him or something like that. You know, it's all about how you you just got to gauge the other owner's value, or the other owners, you got to gauge how they value these players and how they value positions really, and then find out what they need and go off of that. You know, somebody that's making a run at it and just needs a starting quarterback for the year because you know, next year, say the Carson Wentz situation happens. It does every year with somebody, and we know Kellen Mond's going to be the starter going into Minnesota. You know, it makes sense. You know, you trade him at that point. You're rebuilding. You're not quite ready to compete yet. You don't. You know, he's probably not going to make it past year one, and you trade him. You know, that's a very outlandish scenario, but it's possible, and it's why you sit on these players and why you sit on the players that you believe in. After that, we got Kini Nguanu in. I'm not even going to say it, Nguau, something like that. This guy had the bad end of the stick in college. He ended up playing behind David Montgomery, who was an excellent collegiate running back. He was nasty last year in the NFL. You know, I don't think he's going to have a bad year this year either. And now he's playing, and then he was playing behind Brees Hall, who led the FBS in rushing last year, and very well may be the top running back coming off the boards. I'm not a big Devy player, but I do feel like Brees Hall is probably going to be the RB1 coming out next year, depending on landing spot, because that changes, it seems like, everything every year. After that, we have Justin Jefferson. I'm not going to spend much time on him, otherwise this video is going to be forever because I can talk all day about JJ. But his play speaks for itself. He is one of the best building blocks you can get in all of Dynasty. That being said, he is going to cost you an arm and a leg, but if you get him, you have a excellent building block. After that, we got D.D. Westbrook. You ain't heard that name in a while. Yes, you have, because I just said it when we started talking about these guys. But before that, you haven't heard it in a while. D.D. Westbrook I loved him coming out of Oklahoma. He got drafted by Jacksonville, and it just seemed like injuries in a bad organization, really. You know, Blake Bortles was his quarterback. He had that one good year, and that was really the defense that carried them all the way to the AFC Championship game, not Blake Bortles, let's be honest. So he never really got quality quarterback play, and then you pair that with injuries and never getting any chemistry down with the guy. I just think he's an excellent talent, and if he still, if he can still channel that old D.D. Westbrook and he's healthy, he is going to be an absolute steal, because you're probably going to be able to pick him up no problem in the free agent auction and get him for $1 million dynasty dollars. Nobody's going to try to outbid you for D.D. Westbrook, but he's an excellent lottery ticket in my opinion. We'll see what happens if he even makes the team. I don't know. After that, we got Amir Smith Marset, 4 years, 949,000. This just basically comes down to, I don't believe in Adam Thielen anymore. He tailed off quite a bit towards the end of last year. His whole year basically was dependent on touchdowns. He had a ton of touchdowns last year. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but it was definitely double digits. I want to say it was like 14 or something crazy like that. And the yardage just wasn't there to back up that touchdown number. And I just feel Adam Thielen falls off a ton this year. I don't think he necessarily falls into the abyss or anything. He's still going to be 800 yards, maybe 6-7 touchdowns, because they love using him in the red zone. It's almost like he's a second Dalvin Cook down there in the red zone, it seems like. But I don't see a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 type season. I think it'll be a solid flex play at times, but the somebody's going to have to step into that role in this offense. And why not Amir Smith-Marset if you got him on your roster, right? After that, we got the Lions. DeAndre Swift, 3 years, $2.1 million. Swift is one of the best young running backs in the game. He does have a little bit of concussion issues, and that is very worrisome at that position. The Lions did sign Jamal Williams, which means they're wanting to go with another committee approach. It seems like they do it every single year. They had Barry Sanders one time and didn't do it, but it seems like that's about it. Uh, Other than that, I love DeAndre Swift. He's definitely somebody. He's not getting a huge workload. His rookie year, he's not going to get a huge workload this year, in my opinion. He will get a solid workload this year, but it's not going to be a Najee Harris type workload, I don't think. They're paying Jamal Williams a little bit too much for that. After that, we got Jamar, I think is how you say it. Jermar Jefferson, 4 years, 900,000, pretty much. He's just you're taking a flyer on him. Maybe the health of DeAndre Swift doesn't hold up, or they trade him. Lord knows with the Lions what could happen there, and maybe Jefferson ends up the starter or a high end quality handcuff. You never know what happens there. After that, we got Quintez Cephas. He is my favorite long shot in the NFL, and it's just because Jeff Okuda was one of my favorite Buckeyes ever, and he said Quintez Cephas was one of the toughest players he's ever played against, and he was the hardest wide receiver he ever had to guard. So I kind of hold on to that and feel like he can channel that and become an NFL player. I think he'll stick around on the roster at least, but who knows if he'll be fantasy relevant. Somebody's got to in Detroit outside of Hawkinson. After that, we got Javon McKinley, 3 years, 813,000. Same thing as Cephas. Somebody's got to step up in Detroit. Why not McKinley? Same thing with Surratt here. We got Sage Surratt, 3 years, 800,000. Same thing. Wide open room in Detroit. Somebody's got to catch the ball. Somebody's going to step up. Somebody's going to emerge. I would, if you're really just starting a rebuild, I would grab two of these guys and just, once one of them takes off, flip them. Just maybe even grab three of them at this rate, because it's hard to tell which one of these three guys right here are going to hit. You could even put Jefferson in there at that point, but it's hard to tell which one's going to hit on this roster. So I would just grab them all and keep the one that does. After that, we got Hawkinson. He's poised for the biggest year of his career. He's getting to that point where tight ends finally start to get a grasp on the league and they start to do special things. I'm very excited about him, especially at a $5 million salary. If you can get your hands on him, do it. Do it. After that, we got Justin Fields, my favorite Bear ever. The second favorite Bear would be Craig Krenzel. Why? Because they're Buckeyes, and Ohio State is the best team in the nation. Now, Fields has got an excellent deep ball, great athleticism. He pairs very, very well with Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson. I am very excited to see this kid play. I think he starts sooner rather than later. You guys heard me on the live stream a few weeks ago say he's going to start week 1. I was kind of talking out of my rear. I don't know if that's true, but I would say week 4 at the latest he will be on the field. In my opinion, he will shine in preseason and camp, and he will be on the field week 1. That's my personal opinion. Do I think it really happens? I don't know. After that, we got Darnell Mooney, 3 years, 900,000. Like I just said, Fields is excellent at the deep ball. Darnell Mooney runs an excellent deep ball route. Darnell Mooney is an excellent deep ball receiver. One thing about Darnell Mooney is he was very utilized, or he was utilized a lot. I don't know why I said very utilized. He was utilized a lot in the red zone last year, and a lot of people overlooked that. They really, really trusted this kid when it mattered. They got rid of Anthony Miller. They've shown nothing but trust in him. I'm expecting big things. I think Darnell Mooney can emerge into one of the best wide receiver 2s in the league eventually. Not this coming year, but eventually. After that, we got Daz Newsome, 4 years, 900,000. Like I just said, Anthony Miller got traded. Somebody's got to step into that slot role. Daz Newsome was great at North Carolina in the slot. Man, Mac Brown's doing a great job recruiting in North Carolina. Michael Carter, Javonte Williams, Daz Newsome, Just the Howell kid coming at that quarterback they got coming out this year. Just excellent recruiting there for him. After that, we got Cole Kmet, 3 years, 1.8 million. Him, Adam Troutman, they're the next studs up and coming at tight end, in my opinion. I don't have any shares of Cole Kmet, and it bothers me. I just can't get anybody to sell them for the right price, but if I can, I'm buying them everywhere. After that, we got the holds for the Packers. One guy here, Jay Sternberger, 2 years, 966,000. It's funny how the NFL works out. Robert Tonyan was an undrafted free agent. Jay Sternberger was a third round draft pick by the Packers. Granted, Robert Tonyan was an undrafted free agent with the Lions. Now Tonyan's the Packers starting tight end, and Jay Sternberger looks like he may end up getting cut from the roster if he doesn't get his crap together. After that, we got Chad Beebe. I honestly probably should have added a cut list to this because Chad Beebe would be on it. If you're rebuilding, you shouldn't have Chad Beebe on your roster. If you do, you're hoping for a miracle. Basically, that's the nicest way I can put it. No, honestly, cut Chad Beebe and pick up Daz Newsome. You want guys like Daz Newsome. You don't want guys like Chad Beebe. After that, we got Irv Smith. Irv Smith is a hold instead of a buy. I know he's about to walk into a huge workload, blah, 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 blah. Or, and you don't want to sell him or you don't want to buy him right now. I guess you can buy him right now because you're going to get him a little bit cheaper than if he explodes. But looking at it as if you have him on your roster, you hold him right now. And then you trade him if he blows up. You're only going to get probably at most a second round pick for him right now. If he blows up, it turns into a first. So hold him. I'm willing to gamble a second round pick on that. Hold him, see what happens, and go from there. If you really don't believe in him, then you can sell him. And if you really do believe in him, buy him for that second round pick and then sell him when he blows up. After that, we got Darren Fells, another player that would be on the cut list. I'm not going to waste any time talking about a 35-year-old tight end that couldn't make it in Houston with Deshaun Watson. After that, we got Bashard Perryman, 1 year, 2.5 million. And then we got Tyrell Williams, 1 year, 4 million. I'm going to lump these two together because if you're rebuilding, you should have a couple players like this on your roster because one of these two guys is going to end up being the stud in the offense, probably outside of Hawkinson, and you can trade that to a contender and get, a decent draft pick out of it. So, there's a lot of different strategies you can hit as a rebuilding owner, and rostering players like Rashard Perryman and Tyrell Williams at the beginning of the season is one of them. I know it sounds ugly, it sounds dumb, but just think about it. Whichever one of these guys becomes Jared Goff's go-to, you just got at least a second-round pick from a contending owner out of them. And that's what you want as a rebuilding owner is a ton of draft picks so you can throw as many lottery tickets into the draft as possible. After that, we got Jamal Williams. Like I said, they signed him 2 years, $3 million a year. At $3 million a year, they're going to use him. It's not what you're paying a backup to not touch the ball for. They're gonna rotate him in, and he's gonna eat into Swift's touches a little bit. After that, we got Tariq Cohen, 3 years, $5.7 million. For $1 million more, you can get Austin Eckler. If you got Cohen, hold him until he comes back and people see him play again, and then you can get a little bit more out of him. Right now, he's not going to get anything in a trade, especially with that contract. After that, we got Damian Williams, 1 year, $1.1 million. Running backs don't last long in the NFL. Damian Williams just sat out a year voluntarily because of COVID. I can't say I blame him because for some people it was scary. It didn't worry me a whole lot, to be honest. But for him, to each their own. I don't judge anybody for how they feel on it. If he had health issues, whatever the case may be, a family member, anything. But it just sucks that he had to sit out a year of his prime because of it, and whether to no fault of his own, he ended up having to sit out, and it. I just think it comes back to hurt him. Whether it be him getting cut right now, I just don't think a running back missing a year. Look what it did to Le'Veon Bell. That's the best way I can put it. Look what it did to Le'Veon Bell. After that, we got Demiri Bird, 1 year, $1.2 million. He was a great underrated deep threat for the Patriots last year. A lot of people, didn't realize he was one of the top deep threat guys in the league, statistically speaking. And that was with Cam Newton. Now he's got Justin Fields. But like I said earlier, Darnell Mooney is one of the better deep ball receivers right now in the league, and he was only a rookie last year. I only expect him to get better. He was wide open all the time last year, and just his quarterbacks were atrocious at the deep ball. And I'm talking Darnell Mooney was open all the time last year. Damari Bird, like I said, he had a great deep threat year for the Patriots last year, but I just don't see him getting ahead of Darnell Mooney. You can hold him just in case the opportunity does present itself, and you may be able to sell him. For the sells, we have Packers. Aaron Jones. I told you we were going to talk about this. We're going to. I hate putting these guys in here, but I want to give you, this is an exaggerated example. It's a real example, but it's it's a very unlikely example, but you will get the point. Why I tell you to sell these guys. If you go back to 2017, it's the end of the year. Your team did terrible, a lot of injuries, whatever the case may be. You were just bad. You got the number one overall pick coming. You're ready to rebuild it. You're tearing it down to the studs, and you're deciding between, you got Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, and you're like, all right, I'm only going to keep one of these guys as a building block, and you choose Le'Veon Bell because he's about to get a second contract. Antonio Brown's a little bit older. You're like, I'm going to keep Le'Veon Bell. So you keep Le'Veon Bell. You head into 2018, Le'Veon Bell holds out. No fault of your own, blah, blah. That's not likely to happen. But look what Le'Veon Bell did when he came back. Nothing. He was horrible, looked bad. I feel like even if he didn't sit out that year, that was coming within another year or two because he just didn't have it anymore. I don't think he has it still if he played that year. I still think he fades away around the same time, regardless whether he sits out. But if you choose to trade Le'Veon Bell there instead of keep him like I tell you to with running backs going into their second contract, so let's say you got two middle of the road first round picks, 1.6, 1.7, or the 1.6 and the 1.7. I went back and looked it up. The average the average two players going at them two picks in fantasy drafts were DJ Moore and Nick Chubb. Who would you rather have from 2018 forward? Would you rather have Le'Veon Bell or would you rather have Nick Chubb and DJ Moore? And this is as a rebuilding team. Obviously, you want Nick Chubb and DJ Moore. Trade your older guys if you're going into a rebuild. That's the best example I can think to give you. It's exaggerated, yes, but it's a real example, and it's something you guys gotta do. It sucks. I know. I don't like trading those types of guys away either. But as you'll see after Aaron Rodgers here, we got Devontae Adams. Let me talk about Aaron Rodgers real quick. He's getting older. He might retire next year. You've seen the press conference. I don't need to talk a whole lot about him. If you can get something out of him, do it and then rebuild. Just get him off your rebuilding roster. After that, we got Devontae Adams, 1 year, $14.5 million. He is about to get a DeAndre Hopkins type contract somewhere, more than likely, unless he, like I said, pairs up with Rodgers and they take less money to play together another year somewhere else. But he is about to get paid. So get rid of him now before he gets that massive contract. He's starting to get a little bit older. He's still one of my top end wide receivers for Dynasty. But as far as Dynasty owner, which is what we play here, he's going to get a contract, and you got to factor that in. So I'm getting rid of him this year. You're going to get a ton for him. Just reap the rewards and let somebody else deal with that contract. After that, we got MVS and Alan Lazard. I'm going to lump these two in together because, honestly, I think they are both products of Aaron Rodgers. Trade them both now before Aaron Rodgers is not their quarterback. After that, we got Kirk Cousins. Captain Kirk. We love Captain Kirk around here. I think I called Kellen Mond Captain Kirk earlier now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, Captain Kirk has a 2-year, $33 million contract. He is just nothing but a middle-of-the-road contract. He has no – or a middle-of-the-road contract, middle-of-the-road quarterback. He has no athleticism. $33 million is too much for that type of quarterback. I'd rather have Derek Carr at 25. After that, we got Dalvin Cook, 5 years, $12.6 million. Same thing with Aaron Jones. Like I said, the Le'Veon Bell situation. You trade Dalvin Cook right now, get the King's ransom for him, even at his contract. That's a massive contract, but it's okay. You're going to get a lot in return for him because Dalvin Cook is, in some people's eyes, the number one fantasy player right now. I still have CMC ahead of him, but some people have Dalvin Cook there. After that, we have Alexander Madison, 2 years, 867,000. I'm selling Alexander Madison right now to the Dalvin Cook owner because his dynasty owner value just went down to the tube when Dalvin Cook signed that big contract extension. At least before I can't talk right now. Before Dalvin Cook signed that contract extension, we had thoughts in our head that Alexander Madison would be the starter there soon, and now it's not going to happen. After that, we got Adam Thielen, 4 years, $16 million. Like I've said a few times now, Adam Thielen, I just don't think he has it much anymore. He's still going to be a decent receiver, but he's nowhere near worth $16 million, and you're going to have to use an amnesty on him probably next year. After that, we got Jared Goff. 4 years, $33.5 million. Honestly, I would probably just cut Goff, but if you can find somebody to give you a little bit of cash for him, or a little bit of draft capital, or a little bit of an amnesty provision, maybe a half of one, if you can do that. No, I'm just kidding. If maybe they'll give you an amnesty provision or something, you never know what you can get for Jared Goff. And then we got David Blow. I would not recommend even rostering him, to be honest. But if you have him, try to sell him. Maybe the Jared Goff owner wants his handcuff. You never know. Some people like the Lions. It's hard telling. After that, we got the Bears. Andy Dalton, 1 year, $10 million. Right now, Andy Dalton's the starter of the Bears. Trade Andy Dalton before that statement is Justin Fields is the starter of the Chicago Bears. After that, we got David Montgomery, 2 years, $1 million. He had a great 2020 season. The running back depth is a lot better this year in Chicago than it was last year. I don't think David Montgomery. Man, I can't talk. I'm getting tired if you can't tell. I don't think Montgomery has a terrible year this year by any means. I still think he'll be a top end running back. Probably running back 13, running back 10 to 13, somewhere in there. But it's just somebody you want to trade now. He's getting towards the end of his first deal. I know he's still very young. But it's just, I don't know. I just don't trust the longevity of it for some reason. After that, we got Allen Robinson, 1 year, $17.8 million. He's on the franchise tag. He's going to get big time money next year. May stay in Chicago if him and Fields develop a little bit of a connection. If not, I'm excited to see where it goes. Hopefully, he gets a good quarterback after that. I really am looking forward to seeing him with Fields. He's never had a solid quarterback, and it's finally time to see it happen. And I can't wait. I really hope he stays in Chicago and just helps Fields grow as a quarterback. Him and Mooney are a great combo, in my opinion, for Fields to grow with, and I hope they keep that together. After that, we got Jimmy Graham. The glory days have come and gone, like I said right here in the article. It's just he's a glorified he is a discount version of Rob Gronkowski at this point. I doubt you're going to get anything for him, but if you can find somebody in need of a tight end, you never know. Maybe somebody doesn't believe in Cole Kmet and they need a tight end. That's all I got for you today, guys. It was a little bit of a long one, I know. I apologize. I ramble a little bit. I hope you guys enjoy watching it. I appreciate all of the kind words and things of that nature. You guys reach out on Twitter here and there, in the chat when we're on the live stream. It's just, you guys are awesome. You guys are great for the game of Dynasty Owner. You guys help us out so much. Without you guys, Dynasty Owner is nothing. Without you guys, I don't get to do my dream job here and get to talk football for you guys and eventually I want to get to doing a series to where eventually we're going to have a lot more rebuilding teams here on Dynasty Owner, and I want to bring you guys on and just kind of pick your brains a little bit and get to know some of you Dynasty owners and get to chat football with you guys. And I just think that would be a lot of fun. So hopefully once we get some more rebuilding teams on, and if you do have a rebuilding team now, after I get done with this series, I got some ideas for some things, but I'm always looking for fresh content. I feel like an interview breaking down one of your guys' teams, especially a rebuilding team, would be great for the YouTube channel. It'd be great to pin up in the for people needing help. Rebuilding their team, just something to where we can talk things through and really really get a good breakdown on things like that. So maybe if that interests anybody, let me know. I'm always open to ideas and things like that. We got football tonight. I can't wait for the regular season, but at least preseason is here. Make sure your rebuilding owners are watching the preseason closely. If you are rebuilding a team, you want to be picking up these players that are having quality games. You don't necessarily need the guys that are blowing up big, but just look for them quality players and stash them deep on your bench and know that they're there for later. That's all I got for you guys. This was a very lengthy video. I went way over on this one, but that's all right. I love talking to you guys. Good luck on your 2021 chase for the ring. Enjoy the game. Like I said, it'll be over by the time you guys watch this, but I hope you all enjoy it, and we'll see you guys next week. Stay safe.